90th minute of the match, Hansi Flick is raging. Anger and despair are visible in his face. Barcelona has just conceded the second goal, one that simply should not have happened. So how did it come to this? I rewatched the closing minutes several times, and here's what went wrong and why the coach was furious. Let's track Pau Cubarsí. Here he is chasing Lee all the way into the final third. This is already the 90th minute, remember. Courage and the desire to win are good, but is the team learning from its mistakes? That's the main question Flick will raise in the post-match analysis. Balde was playing against Hakimi in this episode, and this is another anti-hero of the moment because Alejandro simply miscalculated his strength. He's just coming back after injury and he's not in the best condition yet. So, Cubarsí and Balde both left their positions, and what happened next? Pau didn't finish the episode. He wasn't on yellow, so his overly cautious play against PSG's midfielder raises questions. Instead of making a tactical foul, Barça got hit with a quick counterattack, and it ended in a goal. By the way, before I forget, there was the same mistake in the first conceded goal when Koundé twice acted recklessly against Mendes. First, he jumped out at him too high, giving free space behind his back, and then not fouling when he had the opportunity to do so. After that, Cubarsí made things worse, sliding in too early and taking himself out of the play, leaving Melu free to finish. The criticism of Cubarsí after the match was deserved, but this is a good lesson, and a lesson that should make him stronger. Let's look further. Lamine does not manage to close down the pass to Njankto. Frankie, Bernal, and Casado hold their zones, but Vitinha is absolutely alone in the center of the field. At the same time, Christensen and Koundé raise the defensive line too high. Look at the further positioning. Balde and Cubarsí have complete lack of coordination in their actions, which leads to Hakimi being absolutely alone on the right flank. In the end, the defense finds itself facing its own goal and having to run back about 40 meters, an absolutely hopeless situation. And the climax. Everyone knew Hakimi would slip that pass to Ramos, but neither Balde nor Christensen managed to step up in time and leave him offside. Szczesny read it too late, and just like that, goal. This was classic kamikaze football, which they supposedly had moved away from. But no, the old sword made itself felt, and that is precisely why Hansi Flick was so irritated. Because honestly, how can you play like this in the last minutes? And why? The match showed both sides of the high line. On one hand, disaster. On the other, the same risk allowed Barcelona to compress the pitch, win the ball back instantly, and create the pressure that led to the opener. Even with the painful defeat, there are positives. First, it's only the second round of the league phase. There's time to learn, correct, and grow stronger. Second, for 70 minutes, the football was at a high level. Still, football isn't 70 minutes. PSG subs outpaced Barça's. Their fresh legs worked better. And third, this loss is a reality check. Not all leaders at their peak right now, which means extra motivation for everyone to step up. Next is Sevilla on the 5th of October and then the international break. That's another piece of good news because during that pause, Firmino and Rafinha should finally return. After the match, many Barca bloggers asked the same question. What happened in the second half? Some said PSG just had better technical players, but after watching the key moments, the conclusion is obvious. Luis Enrique's system eventually rolled over Hansi Flick's system. In the first half, Hans-Dieter shocked his Spanish opponent with a new defensive system, placing the line about 40-45 meters from goal. PSG kept running into that wall and had no idea what to do. Their passes were rushed, inaccurate, and the ball was lost far too often. The stats confirm it. In the first half, Luis Enrique's team had 29 inaccurate passes and an overall accuracy of 86%. Normally, PSG average above 90%. Those missing 4% were decisive, and Barcelona looked sharper while Eric, Pedri, Lamine, Frankie, Rashford, and the others still had fresh legs. But after the break came a completely different picture. Barca's passing accuracy dropped from 90% in the first half to just 80%, which is very unusual for Flick's side. And there's the answer to the big question: what happened after the halftime? PSG, for its part, increased and had 88% and a great number of passes compared to the first 45 minutes. 238 versus 176. Now look at Luis Enrique's substitutions. In the 65th minute, Lucas Hernandez comes on instead of Mbaya, and Mendes moves to the position of left winger to be farther from Yamal. Nuno was already on a yellow and could have been sent off in the 61st minute for a foul on the teenager, but referee Michael Oliver spared him. Then the 72nd minute, Gonzalo Ramos came on instead of Fabian Ruiz. Barça is still keeping the tempo, but then a catastrophe happens, and here is why Enrique's plan beat Flick's plan. In the 79th minute, Pedri left the field and Bernal replaced him. That was the turning point. Pedri had been the shield against PSG's pressing, escaping situations that looked impossible. And again, his link with Frenkie was vital. Not everything was perfect. PSG pressed hard and played rough. And it's not surprising, because Pedri's influence was huge and PSG tried to wear him down. Enrique's players pressed him aggressively, often with little fouls that chipped away at his rhythm. The clearest moment came with Nuno Mendes when Pedri even showed the referee his legs, marked from repeated knocks. In the end, Flick decided to take no risk and protected his best midfielder with a substitution. It was at this moment that the game turned once more. The hard man-to-man pressing, which Barcelona still managed to survive with Pedri on the pitch, descended into chaos once Bernal, Frenkie and Casado, who replaced Olmo, were left in midfield. In the closing stages, the team lacked the metronome. Frenkie was the only one who could still slow things down. I do not know how to treat this substitution of Flick's. On one hand, it's good that he protected him from injury. On the other, this was a very bad substitution which negatively affected the result. What do you think? Write in the comments. And then came the final nails in the coffin. In the 80th minute, Enrique sent on Django and Lee. Fresh legs, more energy. And in the 86th, Flick made another misstep. Eric, one of Barca's best players on the night, was taken off for Christensen. I also see a mistake in the fact that Lamine was not taken off the field in time. It was only his second game after injury, and it was visible that after the 17th minute, Yamal simply stopped. 20 ball losses per game. In just the last 20 minutes, I counted at least 5-7 losses out of nothing. At the same time, Marcus Rashford was on fire. For comparison, the Englishman had only 12 losses, and he was the sharpest player in attack. 4 successful dribbles, a few shots, and most importantly, better physical readiness. So, I have another question for you. Don't you think that it would have been better for Barca to finish the match with the trio of Rashford, Lewandowski and Varane? My answer, you already know. After the match, Hansi Flick was 100% right. Even if the match had ended 1-1, everyone saw that this Barcelona in such condition and without Joan Garcia, Gavi, Fermin and Rafinha was weaker than PSG, who were without Dembele, Doué, Kvaratskhelia and Marquinhos. This is the lesson the team must learn, so let's listen carefully. I'm 100% convinced that we are playing at PSG's level, but we have to do it for the full 90 minutes. The whole team must work, the whole team must defend, the whole team must use the open spaces, the whole team must take part in ball control. You saw it yourself. At PSG, every player wants to have the ball, knows how to use space on the pitch, knows how to play one-on-one. We need to learn that. After the break, we had 3 or 4 good sequences, both in defense and attack, but it was clear that we were tired. If we had done everything right, I think we would have won this match, but obviously we couldn't. Today we lost and I don't like it. We have to accept the fact of defeat and recognize that PSG are very strong. We're disappointed and the fans are disappointed. We have to admit that we were outplayed, but we must keep working and get better, Flick said. Barcelona really could have sealed this already in the 63rd minute when Olmo missed a killer chance. But in the end, PSG's relentless pressing, their intensity and the energy of their fresh legs tilted the balance. Pedri cost us a lot today. We talked about him in the pre-match, but it was very hard to stop him, said Enrique after the match. And in the end, they managed it. For some, Pedri is the 11th player in the Ballon d'Or ranking. For Barcelona, he is number 1. And stopping Pedri means stopping the heartbeat of this team. Now Hansi Flick needs to think very carefully about how to keep that heartbeat alive for the full 90+ minutes, and why the loss of one player leads to the mass madness that everyone saw in the second conceded goal. That night, Montjuic brought pain and disappointment, but also lessons. This team showed it can play at PSG's level. Now comes the harder part, to draw conclusions, correct mistakes, and come back stronger. And this is exactly what we will carefully track with you next. If you like this breakdown, leave a like. Write in the comments what you think about Hansi Flick's play and substitutions. Subscribe to the channel to not miss anything. Also, download the Barcelona Live app, the fastest way to follow what's happening after the final whistle and how the team moves forward. The link is in the pinned comment. Thank you for watching. Bye!